Welcome to another episode of Made in Bartlett, a program dedicated to the primary industries of Bartlett. We want to thank First South Financial for sponsoring this podcast, and we also want to give a shout out to V2 Media, who's the producer of this podcast. These podcasts, as I mentioned, are focused on the primary industries of Bartlett, which has a very diverse industry base. And we joined today by Jason Lewin, who is the VP for Sales and Marketing for American Paper Optics. American Paper Optics is a company based in Bartlett and is involved in the manufacture and distribution of novelty glasses. And I'll leave it at that. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Appreciate it.
Glad to have you here. Jason, to start off, I doubt seriously if many people are familiar with American Paper Optics as a company, but I would dare say that millions are familiar with your products.
That's correct. Yep.
So can you elaborate?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. So we're going on manufacturing 3 billion glasses. So,
3 billion.
3 billion glasses. So that's
you mean
from
the beginning?
From the beginning of time. So when we started the company in, I want to say it was exactly 1990. From then on, we're now, and we're well past 3 billion now, dealing with the eclipse and things like that. But yeah, there's so many different things from movies and TVs and magazine inserts and some of the stuff that you see here, the toys, there's so much of it that, at the end of the day, if you think something is 3D, I would look on the back or look on the side. The majority of the time, it's going to say American Paper Optics. So
okay, well let's get on this a little bit more specific about 3D. You mentioned 3D, but you manufacture American Paper Optics manufactures 3D glasses.
That's right.
Both disposable and I guess the hard copies.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Okay, so where would you see and where would you use these 3D glasses?
Okay, so when we talk about 3D glasses, you think of the traditional, red and blue glasses, and also stuff you've seen at theaters, polarized glasses that you can put on. But we do so much more than that, from the red and blue glasses that go into DVDs from back in the day, to inserts into magazines. You can go to a theme park and you would see any 3D ride that's there, put on a pair of 3D glasses, that's us. And obviously, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but the eclipse is a huge thing. So we make the protective eclipse glasses that you wear to take in the eclipse. And, in 2017, we manufactured, it was 45 to 50 million glasses for that. And so that was 2017. Now, there's a little bit more awareness. People realize, okay, we don't want what happened in 2017 to happen to us now. And that means there was a shortage of glasses. So people are a lot more, in tune with it. So our orders now we're doing very well with the amount of orders that we're getting because people are just more prepared. So that's another big thing is the eclipse stuff. But there's so much more. And yes, plastic glasses. We have, I want to say 14 different optics. And so for some of you guys that are listening and watching, I don't know if you've seen it, but they're called holiday specs. You put them on, and anytime you look at a point of like Christmas lights, whatever it is, a certain image appears. So that's a great retail product that we have. So that's just kind of one of the many things that we do. So yeah, it's not just 3D to watch TV. It can be done, in several different ways.
Well, you mentioned magazines. So I think it'd be interesting for our viewers to know that the Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just one edition or many, but they came out with the swim edition.
Yes.
3D version.
Yeah.
That was your product.
That was, right. So Beyonce was going to be on the cover, and Sports Illustrated came to us. And this is during, there really was a big 3D craze that happened around, and it, in the industry, it's called the Avatar effect. So when the movie Avatar came out, James Cameron had put so much effort into that. Everybody wanted to do something in 3D. It was the hot time to do it. And, so Sports Illustrated hopped on board and they wanted to do it. Beyonce was on the cover, and they had a guy shoot, amazing photographs in 3D. And then a pair of glasses came in, you perfed them out, put them on, and these swimsuit models were now in 3D. So yes, and so that was, millions of those, and that led to a bunch of other things. So we were then in Time Magazine, Entertainment. I mean, you name People Magazine, all just different things during that 3D craze to kind of, to be part of this whole thing. So that was a wild, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years of everybody wanting to do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and what's interesting about that too, I mean, because Paulo R., who is your COO, and John Jarrett, who's your founder, and I want you to talk a little bit about the history of how John founded this company. But
yeah,
it's interesting from conversations I've had with Paulo is that you basically create your own market in some extent. I mean, you approach companies saying, "Hey, how would y'all like to promote your product in 3D?"
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we're, as the marketing guy, we're aggressive marketing people. And so when we have a product that we know is doing well and we know it's been tested, we like to go and, we're reaching out to their marketing departments, their art directors, and basically showing them exactly what can be done in 3D. And a lot of times these people who have seen everything, they haven't seen what a 3D product could look like. And so there's different things where it's, a hidden message thing. And so, you get sent a piece of direct mail, you get the hidden message, and you've got to go somewhere to sign up. There's so many different applications. But yeah, so, we took it upon ourselves to say, look, we've got this cool thing. It's tested. People love it. So now, we have a dedicated staff that will then go out and go to all these companies and try to market it the best they can. So,
well, speaking of that, I remember back in the 2017 eclipse, which went through Nashville, and Nashville experienced 100% total eclipse.
Right.
And Memphis was about 90%, something like that.
Correct.
So we got the idea, talking to Paulo, that, hey, why not send all the state legislators in Nashville a couple of these 3D glasses and promote Bartlett in the process, and, of course, American Paper Optics. So we worked on a project jointly. American Paper Optics helped us with the graphics and the creative side of it. And then we sent a package to each state legislator, including the governor and his staff and his administration, and basically promoted, it was what we were trying to promote Bartlett, but also your company,
right?
And the fact that this product is based in Bartlett, and anyway, it was a big hit.
Yeah,
I know that Mark Norris, who was a state senator at the time representing Bartlett, was involved in that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you get so much stuff being in that kind of position. You get, again, so much mail that, what differs for us is that it's something that you get, and even when people open up a piece of mail, it kind of feels different, and people are not really used to getting those anymore. And to feel something in the mail, they open it up, and then when they realize that, this is a useful thing, there is marketing power in being able to do that. So we spend a lot of time, hashing out who we want to go after, and it's not just, that's a great example, but if we've got a certain product that we think would lend well to the Grizzlies, well, we'll market to the Grizzlies, but not only that, we'll market to every NBA team, the WNBA, we'll market to, college teams. So it really becomes, an idea starts to grow based on little things like that. Like your idea was great to do that, you got it into the right hands of certain people. And so that idea lends itself. The next time somebody calls and asks us if we've ever done anything, well, we've got that, so we can do it for another state. So it's really, it kind of grows organically, through ways like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the company and John Jarrett and his journey into founding American Paper Optics. Can you give us a little overview there?
Yeah. I mean, he founded the company now 34 years ago. And, I think at the time, he's always been this entrepreneur at heart. And, he was working in the restaurant business, and he was trying to own a restaurant and do different things. And I think, some of these restaurants were in the wrong part of town. And I think it was a little bit disheartening doing that. And, he had a few mentors, and one of his mentors was a guy who did all these firework tents. I know that sounds crazy, but you see them, when you go over the bridge, around the 4th of July, they're these big, you can't really miss them, the circus, the circus tops that are on these fireworks or displays. So he was working with a guy who was doing that, and somehow in the mail or something, there were a pair of glasses in there that were diffraction lenses. So what that means is you put them on and you just see the breakdown of the rainbow. So it's, it's just a prismatic effect. Very simple. People have seen them before. So, again, being an entrepreneur at heart, I think it was something where he said, well, I haven't seen these before. This seems rather different. I'm going to look into how they're being made, blah, blah, blah. And I think he did enough research to find out there's not really a lot of people doing it. So I'm going to take it upon myself to figure out how to manufacture these things. So I know he rented some space back in the day, Mount Moriah area, just something small himself, and he grinded it out and learned how to do it. And that was 1990. And in 1991, the first massive project that he took on was, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's back, or it was something in 3D. And I think it was an insane amount of glasses for somebody like him to take on. 15 million, don't quote me on that number exactly, but it was something where, another company came to him and said, we can't handle the whole thing. Will you split it with us? He did it. And I'm assuming he probably put all of his money into it and didn't make much on that job, but that job led to another, that led to another. And I know those first few years had to be lean learning this whole thing, because when you're trying to learn a process like this, you're going to stumble, and I think those things happened, and he's very good at making mistakes, but then not making them again after that, learning from his mistakes. And, he found something that not a lot of people were doing. And I think that's kind of the American dream, is to find something, and it seems impossible now to try to find something that nobody else is doing, but he was able to do it. And, you do a few jobs like that, and the next thing you know, word gets out and jobs start coming in. So that was, the start of that was in 1990. And I think, he had some big jobs at the beginning, but then, 1998, he was named, Memphis's Entrepreneur of the Year. I mean, already getting all these jobs, millions of glass orders. And then it just started to snowball. And again, every year would be these 5 to 10 million piece jobs, whether it's National Geographic, again, the applications there could be anything, but in DVDs, there's, things for TV and all these things you can watch at home. So that all happened. And then I want to say in about 2008, things were really getting big. And I know that there was a buyout with a private equity group, and they brought in some guys like myself and Paulo to kind of help, run that side of the business. And, that was the year that it then really exploded, because that was during the Avatar effect. And then it was, when I came in, all these movies like Hannah Montana, all these different movies were being done all at the same time. So everybody was drinking from a fire hose, trying to, keep everything together. And it was such a different way to come into something that was, going so fast. So, that's kind of how everything started. Now, obviously every year there's some highlights of amazing jobs that he's done, but, the fact is that he's the best at what he does. And you rarely see owners, CEOs that are as hands-on as he is. So every day he's back where all the manufacturing is being done. He has his own way to do everything. And it seems to have, worked out really well for him.
Well, you mentioned the private equity firm. So correct me if I'm kind of off here, but it's my understanding that private equity firm, of course, most of these guys are out there looking for good money makers, right?
Yep.
So they see all this business that John's got with American Paper Optics, excuse me, and decides, hey, man, we want a piece of the action. Yep. So they offered to buy the company. Of course, they kept John on, I guess, as the CEO or whatever. And that's where you and Paulo came in. Correct. I didn't realize that. Mm-hmm. But they soon realized that this business is very, very unique.
Yep.
It's very cyclical. Mm-hmm. There's peaks and there's troughs.
Yes.
And most business people, especially private equity guys that are looking for a steady income stream, they couldn't figure this out.
That's right.
And so after, I don't know how long, a couple of years, they decided, hey, we can't deal with this. Right. And so John bought it back.
That's correct. Yeah. I mean, I think something like that, you're right. I mean, to give you an example, in 2017, after the eclipse, we had gone 10 times what we had made the year before, let's say, in terms of revenue. And so, it's something where when you've got a private equity group, they've got investors to be able to say, okay, we don't know what's going to happen the next year. And the thing is that, when they bought in, this was during, at the zenith of this 3D craze. So of course for them, it would have been great to turn it around and, sell the next year, whatever it was. But, they also have a duty to be able to say to anybody else looking to buy, if they're trying to, load it off onto somebody else, to say, hey, look, here's the deal. We don't exactly know what's gonna happen. And I'll tell you, they brought in Bain, who is, one of the biggest. Yeah. So they brought them in to do a study on what they thought 3D would be like. And, I believe some of these, people looking to buy the company spent $500,000 to have this Bain study done. And at the end of the day, they were kind of like, we don't exactly know what the market is going to do with this. And that's just the whole thing. We are the only people that really know. So we're well aware of how these things go. Having a private equity group was great. They were very hands off, let us do, the things we wanted to do. But they also said, you know what, we've done well with this. And so we can't, stay up at night not knowing what's going to happen in the next year or two. So they did great. And John bought the company back, obviously believing in everything about it and knowing that he was the resident expert of all things 3D and how the market's going to go. So that's kind of, how it's gone. But, they came in, did a great job. They were very, like I said, hands off. It would have been really hard for them to come in and try to, work things around. And, you have to know all these different things about the manufacturing process, the marketing process. So it's really, there's not a blueprint to how this thing works. And so the people on the inside know the most. And so again, they did a great job and they got out and I'm sure they're happy with it.
Well, American Paper Optics, your operation is a turnkey operation, is it not? You start from the planning and the development stage and you go all the way through to the manufacturing and then the distribution.
That's right.
You do it all.
Right. Yeah. I think, and that's the thing. So we're a vertically integrated company. It starts from the idea and then it goes all the way through till the end to where it gets shipped. And so everything being in-house allows us to have the best customer service that we can offer. So we really are hands-on in every step. So it's not, if there is an issue, we're the ones to blame. So we can handle it. We know what needs to be done. So being built that way, and nobody else can do the things that we do faster. So, and again, that all comes back to the way John is about, knowing that customer service is the one most important thing in getting all this done, because referrals is huge. This is a business where when somebody just had something done, people don't know where it got done. So they'll call those people and say, I saw your product. Where did you get it? Refer them back to APO. So yeah, that's always gone great. So being that way, vertically integrated, it's been, obviously benefited us greatly.
So you manufacture your product in Bartlett?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything is done. Everything is done there. There's a few things that we might have to get a plastic piece here or there, but every single thing is done. We've got 40 to 45 people working kind of in the manufacturing area. We've got, 5 full-time sales reps, CEO, COO. It's all done in-house. There's not one thing that we, well, actually, I'll say, so the one little thing that we do is we'll have stuff printed and it's printed next door. So it's, we used to own a printing company. This way it's a lot easier. But again, that's, right next door. But outside of the printing of the paper, everything is done in-house.
Oh, the printer is not in-house, but they're next
door. The
printers,
yes. Again, we used to do it ourselves. We used to own a printer, but now it's just easier to use the same printer that we used to own. But, it is literally next door.
Yeah. Okay. So let's, y'all gearing up for the eclipse in April of this year.
That's right.
And it's going to be, it's not going to be 100% in a total eclipse in Memphis.
Right.
But just an hour or so to the east of us, it is. So Little Rock, Jonesboro,
Hot
Dallas,
Springs.
Hot Springs. Yeah. This pathway that it's going to be. Well, I'm going to let you explain that. But I tell you what I find interesting is if you Google 2014 eclipse, your site will come up.
Yeah.
And it's not always appears as American Paper Optics, does it?
No. So here's the thing. So, American Paper Optics, that's our main website, but we have a small piece called eclipseglasses.com. So anybody that's watching, eclipseglasses.com, look, it'll pop up here. right where my hands are. No, that's mainly all of our Eclipse stuff. We want everybody to be able to say, okay, if they're on our main site, they click on the Eclipse area. We want it to be really detailed about everything that we do. So the amount of work that we put into, again, it's marketing stuff that goes into, articles and all this stuff from 2017, that all lives online. And so obviously when people are looking for it and here's the thing with eclipses, you have really passionate eclipse chasers, but outside of that, you just have people who are somewhat interested. So when it comes down to it, most of these people on April 8th, maybe they'll start to pay attention the week before, right? Other than the eclipse chasers. So, in 2017, we saw that happen. And I'll give you a perfect example is so online, we have a retail piece online. People can order, on our e-commerce platform, eclipseglasses.com. And so before 2017, I would say maybe a few months leading up to it, we would get 100 orders a day. That was great. 100 orders a day. And that started to ramp up a little bit. Anyways, a week, 2 weeks out, we went from a couple hundred orders a day to 13 to 14,000 orders a day. And so we have one person that works packing our stuff out before this. So we use a backend called Shopify. Shout out to Shopify. And so I had a conversation with them because they were like, what is going on here? Like this money that's coming in, they had to put a hold on it because it was, obviously they're looking at it. And we're talking about a single day doing over $1 million a single day. And that's to the consumer. That's somebody buying 20 glasses. So we're not talking about these massive orders. There was just a ton of them. So
now this is all online you're talking about?
This is just online.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when I talked to the back end of the platform, they told me that the only time they'd seen any kind of activity like this was when one of the Kardashian girls had launched one of her lip balms, whatever, So anyway, so it gives you an idea in terms of what that kind of traffic is like. And we had gone from relatively none of that to overnight, being bombarded with 13 to 14,000 orders a day. So that is a ton. And so luckily, you're talking about some of the stuff we had out there. Luckily, we've done so much stuff with PR and different articles and all these things and SEO to build all this network of, everything to where when anybody looks for anything in terms of the eclipse, they come to us. So that's the marketing we've done, since 2015. So anyway, so that's, we're excited about it. But now we realize people remember 2017. And so we're now getting a lot more orders in a day than we used to. And we know that that'll just continue to ramp up.
Okay. So the customer, if you're interested in purchasing these glasses, and these are disposable, most of them are disposable.
Sure.
And you've got some samples of your product here. So you want to walk through some of these?
Yeah, sure.
But now, will a customer be able to buy these physically? I mean, can they walk into a store? Do you have any arrangements with, some of the retail stores?
It's a good question. In 2017, we had to, this is again, another funny story is I would arrive a week or two before the eclipse, maybe a month before the eclipse, I would arrive to our office. And as you know, you've been there, it's in the industrial area, and there would be a line wrapped around the building. I mean, we don't sell anything in-house. We're not like a brick and mortar. We don't have a way to sell. And so wrapped around the side, and we were like, all right, maybe that's a one-day thing. Well, anyway, it became a 2-day thing. And it was every day until the eclipse happened.
Well, I know because at the chamber, we were getting phone calls from people wanting to know how to get a hold of these glasses.
Right.
We just, you better go over there.
Right.
And see, have good luck.
Well, I mean, so the big piece of the business, yes, we have the retail piece. So people buy online. That's a big part of it. But another big part is that we sell to resellers. So whether it's a Walmart, a Cracker Barrel, a lot of these places that want to give the glasses out,
so
sell them.
they are reselling for you?
For sure. Okay. I mean, they're reselling for themselves. At the end of the day, they realize there's a lot of money in it. And I can't tell you the amount of, small mom and pop shops that are doing the same thing, little toy shops. I mean, thousands that want to be able to sell them because and think about it, every planetarium, every science center, that's all that they do. And they realize that's their demographic. That's who's going to come in and buy. So those people that's kind of the low hanging fruit. But you've got so many people. You've got people that buy and want to resell on Amazon and all these places, which is fine. They've got to know what they're doing, but they realize the market's there. So there are millions of glasses being sold there as well. So I mean, there's, you can also get custom ones. A lot of what we do is if your high school wants to have a watch party or, again, a ton of custom stuff for people that want to give them away. So we're open to all of that too.
Well, speaking of that, the glasses that we sent to our legislators back in 2017, we had a special design glasses.
Sure.
And it had the state seal on there and some, things about Bartlett on there. Now, is it too late for that type thing?
No. I mean, I would say it's best to really get the orders in now.
Yeah.
But look, here's the thing. There's not another company out there in the world that right now is still taking custom orders for this thing. And we still hope to do it, I would say realistically, for about, I don't know, maybe another 3 to 4 weeks, which is still a lot of time, because that's what we can do is that our art team will get together with whoever it is, whether even, let's say it was you say what you want on the glasses, and they kind of work together, try to do it as quickly as possible. And then, it gets in line behind everything else. And here's the only thing right now, based on the sheer volume and amount of jobs that we're doing, if you were to put an order in today, a custom order, I would think you'd probably be getting it at the end of March, which is not a big deal because you are just, the majority of the time these people are giving them away. Now, if you wanted to sell them at your store, sure, you may want to have some for Eclipse Day and you could get them at the end of March. But most people in that situation, that ship has kind of sailed for them. But yeah, I mean, we still have a ton of people that, again, the majority of stuff that we get inundated with in terms of small things are high schools. But there's, libraries give them away. I mean, there's so many different groups that 7-Eleven, there's just a lot of different groups that will either be selling them or giving them away.
Okay, so they on the market now?
What's that?
The glasses. I mean, are the Walmarts, are they currently selling them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, I mean, it's, we usually get a list. We'll get a list, weeks beforehand where this is where our glasses are, because we have too many phone calls of saying like, hey, that's one issue that we have. And like, I won't get too deep into it, but Eclipse safety is super important to us. So we go through rigorous testing to have these things approved. And a good example of that is that we provide NASA's glasses for them, right? So that's a big deal. But unfortunately, like anything else, when something is as popular as it is, you get a lot of people that want to try to copyright it. People want to counterfeit it. And so we have seen instances of, glasses that look nothing like ours, but they say manufactured by American Paper Optics. So, for that, it just means that we'll have to get together with, again, whether it's a PR group, whether it's, Astronomical Society, all these different places to say, hey, look, you've got to let these people, we got to create awareness to say, this is fake and this is not fake. But again, that's not the fun side of it, but we see a little bit of it. At the end of the day, if I had any, if I was able to give any advice about it, I would just say, make sure you get it from a reputable place, a reputable vendor, and make sure it's made in the USA. It's best if it says, made by American Paper Optics, but, we're happy to share the market with other people. But yeah, so it's just a matter of being safe, and, everybody's doing a good job of it now.
Right. Well, I know we're running short on time, but I wanted to let the viewers know that if you've never experienced a total eclipse, it is a surreal experience. I know that my mother was in Nashville, and I went home one weekend. I said, Mother, you know that you're going to have a total eclipse here in Nashville? And she said, no, I didn't know anything about it. So she said, well, let's have a party. So she invited a bunch of her friends, and me and my wife and daughter went up and participated. And she had a big backyard, and we had your glasses.
Right.
We had your glasses for everybody there. And it was very unique.
Right.
And I know that Memphis got a partial eclipse, and we got one not too many months ago, but it's not the same thing.
No, it's not the same.
It's not the same thing. And so if you're here in Memphis, you can drive over to Jonesboro and be and now the nice thing too about your company and your product is that you have these maps, a map of the U.S. that shows the pathway.
That's right.
And so you can look at this map and tell, okay, which communities, which areas are going to experience the 100% eclipse. And then you also show the 90 and the 80 and all that.
Yep.
But what's even better is on the backside, you've got all these communities, these towns that are in the pathway.
Yep.
And you have a chart, and it explains, okay, the eclipse will start at this time. Yep. And run, 2 or 3 minutes and end at this time. So you can get their map look at it and know exactly when you need to be in Jonesboro, Little Rock, or whatever to experience the total eclipse.
Yep.
So with the amount of time that we got remaining, I'm just going to let you go through some of your products and let our viewers know what you got.
Sure. I mean, so I'll show you what a pair of eclipse glasses. This is what a pair of eclipse glasses look like. Now, these are kind of near and dear to us because we've partnered with St. Jude. And we give 50% of proceeds to St. Jude from these glasses. So, one of their patients designed the art. We put it together. And I mean, if anybody buys the 12 pack, we give them 50% of what we make. And we did extremely well with it in 2017, but we were so late to it because it was a project I went to them about and they were like, great, how can we do it? But we only had a few weeks. So this time we really got together, got with the team, and we've had them out for a while. And so the goal for us is to be able to go and present them with a really big check, and not just a little check. Like I really want to get one of those physically big checks because I've always wanted to do that. And so that's great. And these are the kind of eclipse glasses. These are things we love to do, and we do it for ALS as well. We have a partnership with Bill Nye. There's a lot of things eclipse wise. I know we've talked about it, and you were talking about the map. You can get that on our site. But some of the other stuff that we do, not only do we have,
well, you got the map right there.
I do have the map. Oh yeah. So yes, if you want to hold that up or just show for a second, and I'll talk about these things. But so it shows you, and here's the thing. This is the path of totality right here. So you'll see all the big cities in there. You'll see Dallas, Little Rock, Carbondale, Indianapolis, Cleveland, and then it goes all the way up and, goes up to Montreal and Burlington. So there's a lot of little places, and I can't tell you the economic impact it's going to have for a lot of these smaller towns. But it's a really cool place. And there's obviously Texas is your main area where they, you've got experts that say this is the best chance for the best weather. I'm going to be in Indianapolis at the Motor Speedway. I helped do a job where it's going to be the largest watch party in town. You can get that map, eclipseglasses.com.
And then the chart is here on the back.
Yes, right. So that lets you know exactly where to be, what time. Which we found very helpful because we get a lot of phone calls of people wanting to know. Luckily now, everybody's kind of hip to this, and most cities and things like that have a lot of people writing articles about it, so people are pretty well versed in it. But not only that, we've got books that we make. So this is basically a guide for the 2024 eclipse. It's got the map, it's got all the same times, comes with eclipse glasses. This is another thing with the eclipse, and it's called the Solar Snap Eclipse app. And we partnered with a guy named Doug Duncan, who's, kind of a famous astronomer. So he's well known in the astronomy world. It was his idea to do it. We manufactured it. And this is one of the top selling items that we have. So at the end of the day, it's basically eclipse glasses for your phone. And we did a children's book all about the eclipse. So that's eclipse stuff. Tons of it, all kinds. If there's something eclipse, we do it.
Now, this is stuff that, say, is on sale at Target or Walmart.
Yeah, there's different
someplace.
places that have them. Yeah. Sure. And we, obviously we've got plastic glasses as well that are really big sellers. It's kind of a premium to your paper stuff, and, tons of people buy that. But some of the stuff you see around here, this is all just different lens technology that we talked about. And it varies so much. Like, this right here it's a technology called ChromaDepth. And when you put it on, it's hard to explain, but it's a binary breakdown of the rainbow. So when you put it on, all the colors separate. So Roy G. Biv, you do that, they literally looks like 3D, like in terms of the breakdown. Now, the cool thing about that is that if you have the glasses on and you're not looking, if you have the glasses on with regular 3D stuff, usually everything kind of looks askew, if you have regular 3D glasses on. Well, this, all the regular items are not, like, there's nothing, your vision is just fine. Wearing these, everything is great. And the images aren't impaired. So that's really cool. And you can see some of the DVDs up there that we've done. And we've done so many of them. This is one of our biggest jobs that we've ever done. This is, so we did this for the Super Bowl. And this is a number of years ago. I want to say 2009, but it was our largest job, and that it was 134 million pieces of this. And these went into, various places that sold Sobe One Life Water. And it was so they had a Super Bowl commercial at halftime. And it was for there's a show called Chuck. And then there was a movie called Bob's Big Break, I think, or no, Monsters vs. Aliens. So this was the biggest thing that we've done, 134 million pieces. Great. But yeah, so all different things. We've got up there books. You can see the Colbert book over there, did 800,000 glasses for that. There's just Coraline. There's a million different things. When I was thinking of what I wanted to bring, there's also little things like this is something that in 2018, 19, these went into Lunchables, right? So from the Minions thing, the Despicable Me, it's all, you put these on and you're able to see decoded messages on the back. So neat little ideas like that. The other things like this goes into a Happy Meal for Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A usually gives something that's educational. And this way, same thing, but with just 3D glasses. Again, so many different things. And let's say magazines. This is a job that I did because I love the magazine company. And so right when I got to the company, I reached out and I said, look, everything is great with your magazine, but what about doing something in 3D? It would be, really work out. They got back to me and, there's...
The cover's 3D.
The cover's in 3D, right. So, so much stuff that you can do. And it's, what people don't realize is even if it's for, if it's not for retail stuff, if they're doing something custom, they can have all their name on the side. So wherever they give these glasses out, it's got the URL. So there's a lot of, interaction that can be done. So using it as a marketing tool is something that, we realize over time how important that's become. And so we've talked more about retail stuff, but, having your own job and doing custom things, there's, an endless amount of opportunities.
Well, Jason, we can go on and on, I know, and you're not short on passion, I'll tell you that. But we're going to probably cut it here. But I want to thank you again for coming by. And,
for sure.
And please tell Paulo and John I said hi.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you joining us. We want to give a shout out again to our producer, V2 Media, and of course our sponsor, First South Financial, who's been a very strong supporter of this chamber, and these podcasts would not be possible without First South. So again, we want to thank you, and don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see more of these podcasts. And thank you very much.